fatality reported during the 4th last year. State Senate President Steve Sweeney doesn't really care that Governor Christie will be gone from New Jersey a lot as he runs for president.
If there's people behind that can give answers and make decisions, then we proceed how we have for the last year.
Assembly Speaker Vinnie Prieto says if it becomes clear Christie has lost all focus on New Jersey, then he should step down. A recent poll shows 7 in 10 Garden Staters don't think Christie can be an effective governor while running for president. A Philadelphia couple faced theft charges for allegedly stealing items from the bags of beachgoers in North Wildwood. 36-year-old Kelly Costanzo and 39-year-old Larry Hall also faced child endangerment charges because their 3 children were with them at the beach. On Wall Street, the Dow was down 45 points. I'm Joe Cutter. Get breaking news and weather alerts on your cell phone. Text news to 89,000. This is the Town Square News Network.
It's going to be a warm and muggy night. As the humidity increases, we'll see lows drop to only around 70 degrees. That is not cool at all. Some fog possible overnight along with a stray shower. Sun and clouds tomorrow with another chance for a shower or thunderstorm. It'll be very warm and humid. Highs tomorrow upper 80s, lower 90s pretty much across the state on Wednesday. It'll be hot and humid with strong thunderstorms possible Wednesday afternoon. And Thursday isn't looking as hot or as humid. It'll be partly sunny. Highs still in the mid 80s. I'm meteorologist Dan Zarrow.
Hello, I'm Mark Taylor, owner and pharmacist at Jersey Shore Compounding Pharmacy. I want to thank all of our loyal customers that have placed their trust in us as a full-service compounding and specialty pharmacy. But when there's growth, there's change. So I'd like to announce our brand new name, Curexa. But don't worry, our ownership hasn't changed, and you'll still get the same great customer service you are accustomed to. Curexa is still PCAB accredited, and you'll still be dealing with our same experts in customizing quality medications just for you.
Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy, is a full-service compounding and specialty pharmacy. Curexa specializes in formulating prescriptions that are hypoallergenic, alcohol-free, and gluten-free. Does your pet take medications? Curexa also formulates medications for your pet. And they have over 35 flavors to choose from to make your medication taste great. For compounding medications from juniors to seniors to pets, visit Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy at 3007 Ocean Heights Avenue, Egg Harbor Township. Call 609-927-0390 or visit Curexa.com. That's Curexa.com.
WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Congressman, brought to you by Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Compounding Pharmacy. Compounding medication solutions from juniors to seniors to pets. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Call 407-1450. Now, with Congressman Frank LoBiondo, here's Harry Hurley.
Good evening and welcome to the program. It's another exciting, and when I say exciting, we have an exclusive, I believe, and we'll get to that in just a moment. It is United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo's monthly program, Ask the Congressman, with your United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo. We're on WPG Talk Radio 1450. You can watch us live on our YouTube channel at WPG1450.com. Our sister station, WOBM-AM, located in Toms River, New Jersey, part of Town Square Media, New Jersey, simulcasting tonight's program live as well. So we welcome all of our listeners from WOBM as well. And this is your opportunity. It's your Town Square, your chance to pose your questions. A lot of ways that you can do so. We already have your email questions ready to go for the Congressman. You can call in at 609-407-1450 and we'll go live to your phone calls. And you just heard Mark Taylor, Jersey Shore Pharmacy, and he does a great job with compounding, and his whole team. They're now Curexa, and they are presenting tonight's program. And we thank Mark Taylor and the team at Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy, for bringing this program your way. Congressman LoBiondo, it is your program, and welcome. Good evening, sir.
Great to be back.
How's it going?
Excellent.
All right, now I understand that you were on quite a trip, an official week-long Intelligence Committee trip to Africa. Guilty as charged?
Guilty as charged.
Tell our listeners, I guess some of it is classified?
Most of it is. I can talk about it a little bit. My body is, I think, still trying to figure out which continent it's in.
What is that like? I mean, how long is that flight?
Well, altogether, it takes about 24 hours for me to get where I'm going. And of course, they break it into a couple different legs. And the whole trip is as a result of the oversight responsibility that the House Intelligence Committee has, and for me specifically, the oversight of the CIA. And what we are doing, how our policies are working, what's effective, what are we doing wrong, et cetera, with the fight against the terrorists. So specifically ISIS, Taliban is in there, Khorasan is in there, Boko Haram is in there, Al-Shabaab is in there, and not a lot of attention publicly is being paid to Africa. So the purpose, again, was to get on the ground where I will tell you, as politically correct as many people in Washington are, directors, deputy directors, folks who come before and answer to our committee, if you don't ask them exactly the right question, you somehow just don't get the full answer. Harry, it is exactly the opposite overseas. Now, these are agency people. These are primarily CIA. There are some military. In the military, Special Forces, Navy SEALs are directed where they will serve, and they go. What is amazing about the CIA, these are individuals that are volunteering to go to some of the most godforsaken places on the face of the earth. Not once, repeatedly. I bumped into some of these folks on a number of trips. I'm not sure this was my 7th or 8th trip into this part of the world. I can tell you that a large part of the focus was with the Arabian Peninsula, specifically Yemen, and that situation there, which is very, very difficult. We're on the edge of making a lot of wrong decisions. And what's happening with Al-Shabaab out of Somalia is also of great concern. I was in what I was told was the second hottest place on the face of the earth, Djibouti. Wow. It sure felt that way. I was told the temperature topped 120 on one of the days. It is an incredibly strategically important partner because they own, while it's a very small country, they are where the straits cross over. It's only 20 miles. And if the wrong thing happens there, it shuts off everything to the Suez Canal and a whole bunch of other things.
What's that called, the Strait of Hormuz or something like that?
Yeah, it's another strait. It's not Strait of Hormuz. It's another one. I can tell you that I was in Juba in South Sudan. There is a raging civil war there that has big implications because when there is uncertainty in a country like that, and they've only had their independence for 4 years, that's when the terrorists attempt to move in. And some of the other parts that I can't say specifically where I was, but it was they always are extremely amazing. I did find 2 specific areas that I will say were glaring. And when I return to Washington tomorrow, I've already talked to some of the folks and what we're going to do and how we're going to start to approach this, because these are 2 critical areas that our committee did not know about. And as usually happens or sometimes happens, a trip like this, you get on the ground and they're very forthcoming. So pretty amazing.
What a difference between people that it is their career and they have honor and they have integrity and they see that this is an equal member of our government, the Congress, and they're candid and forthcoming, as opposed to if you don't precisely ask exactly a certain way, you may get an answer that is completely irrelevant to even what you're looking for.
Right. And I will tell you, they're 2 or 3 year tours, and for some of the key people, the station chiefs, and 3 of the places that I was on the ground with them, they had not seen another member of Congress in the time they had been there, and they were very anxious to share their views, their stories, their take on where we are, how we're doing it, what the challenge is, et cetera, et cetera. You can immerse yourself in these trips. Of course, the time difference is pretty big. You spend a day traveling. When you hit the ground, it's usually, because of the time difference, 6 or 7 in the morning. That day starts. So the first day, and I have terrible time sleeping on a plane. So my first day, I've been going something like 30, 36 hours. And on the return leg, it was closer to 48 hours because of what we had to do that involved part of the night before, that whole day, a late night flight, and 24 hours on top of that. But just amazing information, very hands-on and very worthwhile.
10 minutes past the hour, you're listening to United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo. This is his monthly program and yours to pose your questions, to ask the Congressman. We have a long list of your questions all ready to go. I have a few that we prepared as well, and we'll defer to your phone calls when you would like to check in at 609-407-1450. Congressman, this is not a gratuitous just shot against the president, but over a year ago, he said we have no strategy to defeat ISIS. A year later, just recently, he said we do not have a strategy to defeat ISIS. As you know, about an hour ago, he spoke from the Pentagon. This was not to offer a strategy. It was just sort of an update about what is going on. And I'm going to give you a couple of quotes and see what you have to say about this. The president said regarding ISIS, this will not be quick, quote, this is a long-term campaign. ISIL, it's interesting that he calls them ISIL, and that is a distinction with a difference. We call them ISIS, and there's a reason that I do that. And you said ISIS, and most say ISIS. He says ISIL. We don't have to torture that, but there's a reason. He's almost attributing them as though they're a state. He says ISIL is opportunistic and it is nimble. He said further that we are going after the heart of ISIS. But here's my observation, then we'll get yours. They're striking currency. That's amazing to me. They are coming up with ways of execution, the likes of which are so barbaric we've never seen it before. They have a PR division. They have slick, Kyle McCann, without any disparaging to our great executive producer, would blush at the quality of their technical presentations in the videos that they do that are in perfect HD. There's a high level of technical knowledge and skill in what they're putting together. What I'm getting at is they're a group that actually appears that they're not on the run at all. They're very confident, and they keep on amassing not only land, almost like Alexander, conquering land, but they're putting together an infrastructure like they're a nation.
They are. All of that is absolutely true, and then some, then a great deal more. They have the financial wherewithal that no other terrorist group has had before. And they have all these capabilities because the president refused to accept the determination by Republicans and Democrats 4 years ago, which basically outlined what this group was about. Now, nobody could tell at that point how barbaric they would be. Nobody could tell at that point how organized they would be, how technically capable they would be, how all of these things came together. But they have come together because the president has called them the JV when they were not just a varsity, but a sort of an all-pro team. And they continue to gain in stature within the terrorist communities. They right now are at the top of the heap with Al-Qaeda and Boko Haram. They have these other terrorist organizations flocking to them, bowing at their feet because they have the financial resources and the barbaric nature that turns on so many of these people as far as recruiting is concerned.
Now, didn't we also find out that the president, if he read his presidential daily briefing that, that comes out every single day, for more than a year, he was urged by the experts that provide him with this stuff that this was a serious threat?
Yeah, it was more than a year, Harry. It was way more than a year when the first indicators were coming through. They were so loud and clear. It was done in such a strong bipartisan way. And the president, true to the form of his entire presidency, does not want to listen to anybody except a Susan Rice or somebody else who just does not know what is going on, refuses to accept the opinion and the direction of the professionals who are on the ground, who are seeing it firsthand, who are outlining for him a strategy. And to this day, when he says we're going to strike at the heart of him, the rules of engagement are pathetically wrong. So the president is striking. Yes, we're taking strikes. It's a joke, the kind of strikes we're taking. You can't do this the way he's doing it. And all he's allowing is, I think, to run out the clock on his presidency. And this is putting ISIS in a position to become so much stronger. And they will continue to be emboldened to attack. They're going to attack Baghdad. They will attack Baghdad. Now, will the Iranians come to the rescue? Or Iran is now offering to form some treaty with us and fight us. I mean, the whole world is upside down. And it's because he had wrong policy.
Yeah. Would you offer your thoughts on, is Afghanistan right now in the process of any gains that we have made, losing them, just like we lost all the gains in Iraq?
We are right there on that edge with those terribly wrong decisions that the president made on Iraq in the face of a very strong opposition from the military, who basically predicted this. And the president felt he made a campaign promise and, you know, hell or high water was going to come. He wasn't going to change it. He is doing the same thing in Afghanistan.
Is it stunning to you, striking, that there is no strategy when you know that there really is a strategy? He keeps it from emerging.
He keeps it from emerging. And, you know, do you believe for a minute, does anyone in America believe for a minute that the president went to our military, the most capable military in the history of the world, and said, develop a strategy for me, and a year later they don't have a strategy for him?
No way. No how.
I mean, late night talk shows could not make up jokes about these things. The military can present a strategy. The president doesn't like the strategy they present because it's a strategy that will give the United States an advantage, and it will disadvantage ISIS and the other terrorist organizations. I can tell you it's not just them. Boko Haram and Al-Shabaab are growing in power. They're growing in capability. And our rules of engagement with them that I got to see firsthand on the ground in real time is pathetically lacking and wrong.
Here's another area that I'm very concerned about. My former boss, full disclosure, every time I mention him, I want people to understand that I do have a friendship and I do have a long-time relationship with Donald Trump. Of course, he's being crushed right now because of certain statements he made. Let me put that aside so that we don't have a Donald Trump moment that isn't fair to thrust upon Congressman LoBiondo. But we know that someone who has been, well, let's say he has been released. It's like catch and release. He's been released about 5 different times, and now he has killed again.
Yeah.
And this has nothing to do with anybody, any ethnicity, any race, any of that. When are we going to get out of the business of letting people who are violent criminals literally just let them go? They don't even watch them. And then maybe if we're lucky, we catch them 3, 4, or 5 times before they hurt or kill someone else. I think we have to get out of this business.
Well, we do. And San Francisco is a sanctuary city in violation of federal law that Congress passed. And people would say, well, you know, well, why don't you do something about it? And we get that all the time. Well, to enforce federal law, the Attorney General of the United States is the one who has to do that. If the Attorney General of the United States decides not to enforce the law, whatever that law may be, and in this particular case has to do with sanctuary cities, it has to do with people who are being allowed to stay here, who should not be allowed to stay here, who are violent criminals, and if left to their own devices, you're going to have more of the situation like we had there from San Francisco. And Congress has spoken. This is extremely frustrating, but I don't know where we go from here unless we have a president who believes that, first of all, the law matters, and secondly, that we have to put the United States first.
And of course, if any of the recent Supreme Court decisions or any other rule or law that the federal government and this Justice Department wants to enforce, they'll drop the hammer.
Oh, right. They'll spare nothing to do what they believe is in their best interest.
Let's get our first break in. When we come back, we're going to stay with foreign policy and Congressman LoBiondo, obviously because of the many very relevant and important committees that the Congressman both chairs and serves on. And I sometimes lose track. You actually have set a record in terms of chairing certain committees that no member has ever chaired before, correct?
Well, not close. There are only... Besides myself, there are only 3 others in the House of Representatives who are chairing 2 committees.
That's very unusual.
It's very unusual.
But I think the Speaker and such they see your skill sets, and it serves our country very well in these positions that you chair.
Well, I'd like to think that's the way it works. I've worked very hard. Aviation is the other committee, along with CIA. I have developed a passion in both of these areas, and I'm very honored that the leadership has recognized that I can provide effective leadership in these areas.
One other quick follow-up before we go to the break, because I think it really fits in right now without a pause, and that is that it's very unusual for someone in your position to almost not go Hollywood, to not lose sight of the district, becomes almost like a national congressman, and in your case, you do all the work that you're supposed to do on these important committees, but yet you don't lose touch with the district. You're everywhere that you've always been. Can you explain your philosophy of governance?
Well, Harry, thanks for pointing that out. I promised myself, as a kid who grew up on a farm in rural South Jersey, Rosenhain, New Jersey, that if I had the chance to serve in the Congress of the United States, I'd never forget where my roots were and what my responsibilities are. And my roots are here in South Jersey, where I've lived all my life, and my responsibilities are to the good people of South Jersey. And I remind myself that not just every day, but numerous times a day when there are decisions to be made. So I care about getting a result. I care about giving them the best representation that I am capable of doing to the best of my ability, and recognizing the tremendous honor that I have and the opportunity to make a difference. And I can make a difference. Making a difference, I tell the high schoolers this, making a difference doesn't mean making a headline. It means getting something done. And that's what I strive to do with every issue I deal with.
One thing I want our listeners to know, I personally witnessed this. It's just one example, and it's not anecdotal. It is actually the way that Congressman LoBiondo does his job. I've watched, and I've been at the affair, I've watched Congressman LoBiondo on multiple occasions drive 3.5 hours after a voting session, come to either a funeral in the district or some important issue or event in the district that he promised he would be at, and does that, and then 3.5 hours right back. That's not unusual.
It was Rich Altamir.
Yeah.
And Rich was a very special individual, and I just could not let pass when I had that window, as tough as that was, to be able to pay my final respects to him because of what a friend he had been to me and how valuable he, I think, was to the district. And
because Air Force One isn't gassed up and idling and running on the runway, that's 6-7 hours just the drive.
Well, listen, we all make decisions of what our priorities are. You've done that extraordinarily well in how you've kept people informed, your work ethic to do all the research. And, so in that way, we are very much alike, committed to making sure that we're doing the right thing. And, I don't look for the pat on the back type of thing. Getting a result, making sure that I have not forgotten who my friends are, that's what's important.
And the thing I wanted to point out is a lot of people at your level, your time of service, the vital committees that you serve, become almost TV congressmen. You do hits on TV. I see you a lot, but you don't forget to come home. And the priority, and I think I speak the truth, I know I speak the truth when I say this, that you understand that the people's house is the government that's supposed to be the closest to the people, and you are here in the district.
Closest to the people, with the exception of last week when I had the situation with the classified intelligence trip. The minute we are finished voting, I am in the car. I drive myself back and forth in my car, not a government car, and I believe that the time in the district needs for me to be available, accessible, and approachable. So that's why the fire company barbecues, the church breakfast, where I can be with people, where they get a chance to understand that they can walk up to me and ask that question. They can give me a wherefore about something, some particular position I've taken, and they do. But I think that's what it's supposed to be. I think you're supposed to be with the people you represent. And sometimes it is tough, Harry. Sometimes people are angry, people are frustrated, especially in this area where we're having such a hard go of it economically. But this is what you should do. You've got to stay close to the people to understand what's important to them.
Glad we covered that. It's United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo. The program is Ask the Congressman. and you're listening to WPG Talk Radio 1450. You can listen on our radio, terrestrial, if you will. You can listen digitally at WPG1450.com and certainly watch tonight's program at WPG1450.com. It will replay. If you've missed any of tonight's program and you're just joining us now, you can catch all that you missed this Sunday at 12 noon. We'll be back in 90 seconds. Stay with us. We have a lot of your phone calls and questions that you've sent in, and you can jump in on the phone lines right now at 609-407-1450. When we come back, we're going to stay foreign policy. I think that right now the President and the Secretary of State are legacy building in terms of Iran. We'll see if the Congressman, if there's any credence, any at all validation to what I'm saying in terms of that. I think they want a deal with Iran, to have a deal, to say that they've struck a deal. Everything I've heard to date says we should not walk away. We should run from this deal. They keep extending deadlines, and we'll get the Congressman's take as we hit sort of the 12th hour, it seems, although they keep moving the bar in terms of a U.S.-Iranian deal as it relates to what we believe, at least I believe, is the potential. You know, I heard that a nation once, Pakistan, with 3,000 centrifuges could build the bomb. We're going to allow, in the latest draft that I've heard about, Congressman, they're going to allow 5,000 centrifuges in Iran. So I heard one of your colleagues say at some point soon, we're going to be basically building the bomb for Iran at the rate that the President and the Secretary of State are going. We'll get the Congressman's take on where this stands when we come back in just a moment.
Visit the WPG Talk Radio 1450 YouTube channel through WPG1450.com to access exclusive video content from South Jersey's talk station. Watch every episode of Ask the Mayor with Don Gardy and Ask the Congressman with Frank LoBiondo on demand. Plus, see videos from Harry Hurley.
And just click on our YouTube channel and you'll be able to view video
and more. Subscribe to the WPG Talk Radio 1450 YouTube channel today.
Hello, I'm Mark Taylor, owner and pharmacist at Jersey Shore Compounding Pharmacy. I want to thank all of our loyal customers that have placed their trust in us as a full-service compounding and specialty pharmacy. But when there's growth, there's change. So I would like to announce our brand new name, Curexa. But don't worry, our ownership hasn't changed, and you'll still get the same great customer service you are accustomed to. Curexa is still PCAB accredited, and you'll still be dealing with our same experts in customizing quality medications just for you.
Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy, is a full-service compounding and specialty pharmacy. Curexa specializes in formulating prescriptions that are hypoallergenic, alcohol-free, and gluten-free. Does your pet take medications? Curexa also formulates medications for your pet, and they have over 35 flavors to choose from to make your medication taste great. For compounding medications from juniors to seniors to pets, visit Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy, at 3007 Ocean Heights Avenue, Egg Harbor Township. Call 609-927-0390 or visit Curexa.com. That's Curexa.com.
WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Congressman, brought to you by Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Compounding Pharmacy. Compounding medication solutions from juniors to seniors to pets. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Call 407-1450. Now, with Congressman Frank LoBiondo, here's Harry Hurley.
Thank you very much. And Kyle McCann, executive producer, thank you for making our program look so good and sound so good. We appreciate you so much. 609-407-1450. Don't be shy. Jump in. I promise you, we will go right to your calls. Until such time, we have more questions that we could take in a flight that Congressman LoBiondo would take to Africa. We have that many questions. We won't get to all that many of them. So the U.S.-Iranian deal. We know the deadline was extended, and it was extended again, and we hear that now it's at critical mass. And I finally heard the Secretary of State say, maybe this shows that they're not going to get a deal, and I could be exactly wrong, because he finally said that if we don't resolve these last few issues, then there'll be no deal. I never heard them say that before. What are your thoughts about how this is going?
Well, I can only hope that's the case. They should have had enough indications, like a very long time ago, that there was no way they could trust the Iranians. There's no way they could deal with the Iranians. And they have poisoned the well with our relationship with the other Arab nations who are livid with us, absolutely livid with us. That's not to mention what damage we're doing to our relationship with Israel that we have done and we continue to do. But the details of the deal as we know them, and of course we don't know a lot, but what we do know is horrific. We are becoming appeasers and enablers. This is going to be one of the worst decisions that a country can make in the history of the world. And I don't say that lightly. I think that the Iranians have this empire mentality. They want to go back to the days of Persia, and they believe that this is their destiny once again to do all this. And if they possess the bomb, then, you know, how gullible can we be that they're doing this nuclear research? I mean, please. Why are you testing delivery systems if you are doing nuclear research and it's for domestic consumption only? And yet they're full speed ahead with developing the missiles that will these bombs will be atop of, and you know it's all for bad.
I won't hold you to a timeline because it's not fair, and there's so many moving parts. But if we struck a bad deal, would Iran have a nuclear weapon easily inside a couple of years? No more than 5, right?
Oh, you're way on the long side.
Right. So it could be within a year, 2 years. It'd be quick, right?
Yes, quick.
And because it sounds like Captain Obvious stuff, what would a nuclear Iran mean?
Well, think of the blackmail that could come from that. I mean, let alone, you get somebody crazy like North Korea's leader that actually believes they have a tactical nuclear weapon that they could then use and not have any retaliation, and what that would do to the world. And it's just horrific. They're nightmare scenarios. They're only nightmare scenarios that are so nightmarish you can't imagine them, and just nightmare scenarios. They're just terrible.
Here's something very hard for me to process, and I really, as you know, I really study these issues very hard. I've never seen an instance where when I say we, I'm being very kind, this administration always seems to be on the wrong side. I think that's incontrovertible, how they treated Israel versus Palestine. We weren't very good even to the United Kingdom for the get-go. All these regime changes, we have worse despots in charge than we had before. This Iranian thing where we seem to be just capitulating, that no inspections, and we'll just trust them that this is for some kind of scientific purposes or something, that it's not exactly what we know it is. Why are quote-unquote we on the wrong side of history right now?
We have a president who believes that this is his destiny to change the direction of the country, not to keep us as strong as we have been in the past or can be, but as stated by the administration very clearly, they think the problems in the world are because we are so superior, and if we're an equal of the other countries, then other countries won't hate us. And we're in a position now where our allies do not trust us. Our enemies do not fear us. We're putting ourselves behind the 8 ball. We are degrading our ability as we speak on a daily basis with our military, with our intelligence capability. And these are not things, Harry, you can flip like a light switch and tomorrow we say, okay, well, we've got a new president in a year and a half, and this individual is really exactly what the country needs, and in a month's time, everything will be okay. The damage that's being done, I don't want to say it's irreversible because I don't believe that, but the time and the resources it will take to fix this, how do you build trust with your allies when you've had it and lost it? People you would depend on if things really got bad. The Brits, Middle East allies, I mean, we do have them, and we're losing them.
See about this. See if you think, here's what I would do if I got in there. It's preposterous, but what I would do would be basically apologize for the past 8 years. Yeah. Look at our record for 231 out of 239 years that we've been, a great nation, and how we've always stood by our allies and how you can trust us. I want to apologize for the past 8 years, and we will show you through deeds, not words, that the United States of America is back. And I think that's how you get it done. And then our true allies will know that this was an 8-year freak show. The United States is back. Our enemies will fear us. It probably will. It certainly have to involve a buildup of sorts because, for example, I was reading lately, and I hate to bring up such weakness because it's not my nature. I'm an optimist, as you are. But I heard that we have Navy folks that are having to hitch rides with other nations because we're something like 8 vessels short of what we should have.
Well, you put it in a mild way. Here's the atrocity of what's taking place. Official position of the United States government that Marines who have to be rapidly forward deployed will be deployed on foreign vessels. Now, they are vetting the vessels. Do they accommodate what we need? But they have said formally, this is what we're going to do, and we're getting everything in place now. How horrific is this? Our Marines that we can't deploy on U.S. ships because we're now at 280 ships, and no matter what we want to do in Congress to pump up the National Defense Authorization appropriations, the president refuses to. Administration has not terrible, they're using the power in a terrible way, and the Democrats who are going to be loyal to the president won't give the votes to override what he is doing in this way. So, it's a terrible situation.
Let me go to one of our listener questions, and I have some additional issues for the Congressman here in the studio, and you can jump in at any moment. 609-407-1450 phone lines are open. 36 minutes past the hour. The Congressman will be here until 5 minutes past the top of the hour. I'm going to just modify Steve's email just a little bit because he says the country is $17 trillion in debt. We're really very close to $18 trillion, Steve, but I think you know that. Steve is an Egg Harbor City congressman, and he writes in as follows. The country is $17 trillion in debt. Are we at the point of no return? And if not, how much longer can we keep spending ourselves into oblivion?
It is, Steve, as you're pointing out, it is a very bad situation. We can look to a lot of things. We have the percentage of people on entitlement here, I think, is even greater than the percentage of people on entitlement in Greece, and we unfortunately are seeing a bad situation unfold there. We have slowed the rate of the increase in the deficit. So this isn't that it's solving the problem, but as a way of pointing this out, we are spending less today when the president took office, but we're spending more money than we're taking in, hence the deficit continues to grow. As Congress tries to rein in the president's spending, what do we get? We get government shutdowns, we get the threat of the fiscal cliff, and it would take a president to be in sync with Congress to understand that if we don't do something, we are headed for a bad situation. Are we past the point of no return? No, I don't think so. There are some things that we can point to, but we're running out of time to do this. And you're right to point it out. We're right to talk about it, but the president needs only for a few Democrats to stick with him in the Senate to block anything from happening there, because unless you have 60 votes in the Senate, Republicans only have 54, I believe it is. So you have the Democrats vote against the Republicans, that legislation can't move forward. Everything is dead in the water. And Harry Reid is already talking about shutting the government down October 1st because they believe that they can blame this on Republicans, these hard-hearted, uncaring Republicans, that there is no way that the president will not get what he wants because he's got the country over a barrel. So that's the kind of bad situation we're facing.
We're going to go to your call, 609-407-1450, and say good evening to Matt. Matt, welcome to the program. It's your opportunity to ask the Congressman. Go right ahead, Matt.
Hello, Congressman. Hello, Harry.
Hey.
Hi.
I want to go back to the defense situation and the Iran situation. I'm missing something. Don't the senators and congressmen, don't they have children and grandchildren? Don't they see what's going on? I know the Republicans are all understanding what's going on. But don't the other senators and the Congress, don't don't they see what's happening, and they're just turning a blind eye so they could be an Obama supporter? I just don't understand it. Now, I know you're there and you do conversations with these guys all the time. What are they actually thinking?
Oh, I wish I had the answer to that. As we point out, and there are quite a few Democrats who are starting to get it. One of my hopes is that because of how egregious the president's policies are, that more Democrats will realize that the damage being done to the country is just horrendous and has to be stopped. But to this point, not enough Democrats have joined in so that we can override a veto in the House of Representatives, and not enough Democrats have joined in so we can even get a bill to the floor of the United States Senate. And if you talk to these individuals, they'll have you believe that, they're bleeding patriotism and their country is coming first, and they have all kinds of reasons and excuses. But the bottom line is that each day these failed policies are allowed to continue, we are putting the country in greater jeopardy. I wish I had a better answer for you, but that's all I can see.
Yeah, I honestly don't understand. I know they've got to have children and grandchildren and see what's going on, and got to go past their democratic policies and say, hey, we're killing ourselves.
Exactly.
We're losing our country, and 5 years from now, we might not have a country. We might be blown off the face of the earth.
Matt, on that optimistic outlook, we thank you for checking in. Here's what I know. We're the greatest nation in the history of the world, and we will turn the page on this. I use a term on Hurley in the Morning on a pretty regular basis called cognitive dissonance, and that is when you go against your own self-interest. You know something is wrong, you know that is bad, and yet you do it anyhow because you choose something above all else as the primary objective. And that right now is the Democrats. Basically, they circle the wagons no matter what the situation is. I totally agree with you, Matt, and the congressman. They know a lot of this stuff that they either by acts of omission or commission, sometimes they won't allow something to come up, so they stop it that way. Now that Republicans are in the majority, they'll use the fact that there's not 60 votes to stop a lot of things from being able to happen, and they're voting against their interests, our own self-interests, to stay ideologically loyal to something that ultimately is very, very bad.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, part of what happens here is that Nancy Pelosi is such a dictator of a leader that some of the best intentioned Democrats are so fearful of what she will do. She can remove instantaneously any Democrat from any committee and stack that committee then with people who are just total obstructionists. I mean, part of this is her problem. And the real tragedy here is that a couple of years ago, there's a Democratic congressman from Maryland by the name of Steny Hoyer. Now, he is in their leadership. He gets it. I know his stomach has to be turning in knots with some of what's going on, but she controls through fear and intimidation the power that she has, and she keeps them as a block. And if even if the Democratic leadership could change, I think we would have some hope of having more reasonable policy that's good for the country. So keep that in mind.
Hey, Matt, got to run. Thanks for checking in. Great to take your call.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yep.
All right, take care.
Thanks so much for listening to Ask the Congressman. We're going to come back to your calls in less than 2 minutes. Tom is in the World's Playground, WPG. When we come back, quick little just plug for something that's up right now. Chris Coleman put it up right after our program this morning. We had an exclusive with Governor Christie on Hurley in the Morning, basically the only program that he appears on in the metro market. And we had an extraordinary 16 or 17 minutes this morning. I know it was a little more than 15. I didn't quite time it out, but more than 15 with Governor Christie, obviously candidate for President of the United States. And we talk a lot about New Hampshire, the run for the presidency in general, and a lot of other things. It's streaming on demand at WPG1450.com right now. So what a great way to start the morning, and what a great way to end our day with United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Tom, you're up next in just a moment. Stay with us.
Good news.
Good news. I've got good news for all three of you.
The WPG Talk Radio 1450 newsletter is yet another way South Jersey's talk station keeps you informed. Get the latest South Jersey news, community events, information on fun contests, links to exclusive YouTube videos, and more delivered right to your inbox. It's free. To sign up for the WPG Talk Radio 1450 newsletter, simply go to WPG1450.com.
Hello, I'm Mark Taylor, owner and pharmacist at Jersey Shore Compounding Pharmacy. I want to thank all of our loyal customers that have placed their trust in us as a full-service compounding and specialty pharmacy. But when there's growth, there's change. So I would like to announce our brand new name, Curexa. But don't worry, our ownership hasn't changed, and you'll still get the same great customer service you're accustomed to. Curexa is still PCAB accredited, and you'll still be dealing with our same experts in customizing quality medications just for you.
Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy, is a full-service compounding and specialty pharmacy. Curexa specializes in formulating prescriptions that are hypoallergenic, alcohol-free, and gluten-free. Does your pet take medications? Curexa also formulates medications for your pet, and they have over 35 flavors to choose from to make your medication taste great. For compounding medications from juniors to seniors to pets, visit Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy, at 3007 Ocean Heights Avenue, Egg Harbor Township. Call 609-927-0390 or visit Curexa.com. That's Curexa.com.
WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Congressman, brought to you by Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Compounding Pharmacy. Compounding medication solutions from juniors to seniors to pets. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Call 407-1450. Now, with Congressman Frank LoBiondo, here's Harry Hurley.
Thank you very much, and welcome back. And when you stop by Curexa, you tell Mark that you heard the program that he is sponsoring, Ask the Congressman. Mark is a great guy. He is doing incredible compounding, just work that nobody else is doing. And they're right off of Ocean Heights Avenue and Zion Road intersection. There's a corner strip mall and the gas station. You just keep going, it's basically right behind it. So if you were right off of Zion Road at the Ocean Heights intersection, you would see Curexa right in the corner as you face their strip mall that runs the opposite direction of the one that's on the corner of Zion and Fire Roads. You'll see it on the right-hand side, and they've just redone the entire store. It's just looking fabulous. Tom, we promised it would be your opportunity to ask the congressman, and we're not liars around here. Welcome to the program, Tom. You're on the air with your congressman, Frank LoBiondo.
Yes, thank you, Harry, and a great show as usual, Harry.
Thank you.
I just had a question for our congressman, who I supported from his first election and will continue to. How does the Senate and the Congress get away with, I don't know how else to put it, just like Nancy Pelosi said with this Obamacare, just vote for it, you can read it later. I would like to see a disclosure that if you vote, and this will probably never happen in my lifetime, if you voted for a bill, and particularly Obamacare, you read it, you understand it, you got it, and I vote yes or nay. How can Nancy Pelosi, but I think it kind of answered my question when you were saying how powerful some of these congressmen and senators are, they get away with this. I think it's appalling that we have sitting congressmen and senators that vote on a bill that they can honestly say, I didn't read it or comprehend what I was voting for. I think that's not a good deal.
No, it's a very bad deal. And I don't know how you overcome that. Most members of Congress, I would hope, are responding to their constituents. And I don't know how many insulate themselves from their constituents. I know quite a few don't go home on weekends. Some don't get to, get out to the community events and all these things. I mean, I read every phone opinion that comes in every day. Now, I didn't last week because I was overseas. In Washington, I spend my evenings calling people back. people who have questions about either what's going on or why did I support, why did I oppose, would I please explain my position? Because I think that staying in touch with people is the way to do it. Now, I don't know how other members of Congress do it, but I'm very upset if I think there's someone that I represent that has a question that, and I'm going to try to answer it if there's something they don't understand. Now, it's not always an answer that they're going to like. It's not always an answer that's going to, like this Nancy Pelosi problem. If you saw, Tom, on the ground, I mean, there's some really good people on the other side of the aisle that are just scared to death because they're on committees that are relevant, that they like, that given to their own devices would be effective. And she knows that they love those committees and has basically threatened to remove them. They come over, in some cases, to the group that I sort of am together with and are apologetic because they know we're doing the right thing and they have to vote no because, she will exact retribution and it's just a bad situation and it's getting worse. Unfortunately, it's getting worse.
Terrible. Actually, it'd be nice if they could change the rules. I mean, because that is a threat. That is an actual threat to our republic, Congressman.
You'd have to have somebody that steps forward, and there's a firing squad if you step forward.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't get there. Tom, thanks for the great questions. We're going to go to the next caller for Congressman LoBiondo. It's Joe. Joe, welcome to the program. It's time to ask the Congressman. Go.
Gentlemen, thank you for taking my call.
Pleasure.
Congressman, you're on the Intelligence Committee. I heard that when the Navy SEALs hit the Bin Laden compound, of course they killed Bin Laden, but they grabbed a whole bunch of stuff, brought it all home. Now, I've heard reports to the effect that this stuff just languished in somebody's office or a warehouse somewhere and was never actually examined until just very recently. Is this true? And are we fixing the problem?
It's partially true. We collected a great deal of material. Sensitive site exploitation is what it's called. And we have exploited a great deal of that. Our frustration is that the administration, and it is totally within their purview, the administration has chosen to release very little of this. And in fact, while we know they have gone through and exploited a great deal of this, we cannot even find out exactly how much is left to go through. Have they gone through all of it? Because this is all in a classified area. So it's a very frustrating part about how the administration is doing business here.
Joe, I'm going to jump in. We're going to try to get a few more calls in. Thanks for checking in. Appreciate the call. We're going to go now to Rosemary. Rosemary, your opportunity to ask the Congressman. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Harry, and hi, Congressman.
Hi.
Although I feel like I could call you Frank because I see you in castles and I see you on the street, and it's just like you're a friend.
Well,
anyway.
I prefer Frank, so feel free.
Okay. But anyway, I've only been able to be listening since about 5:30, so I don't know if you've discussed these. So let me know if you have. There was 3 things I wanted to discuss. Maybe you could just pick one. One is about the rules of engagement, and if that's really, all that stuff is really true. And the other is about, is there anything that can be done about the Obama's personal spending? And the other is the treatment of the veterans and all this baloney that's going on. It just breaks my heart.
Because we want to get in 2 more calls, let's pick one of them.
Well, the rules of engagement. That is determined by the administration, and that is one of the biggest impediments to our being more effective and successful against terrorist individuals, high-value targets, as we're calling them, and terrorist organizations, or in the case of ISIS, a terrorist state. These rules of engagement...
Putting their lives in jeopardy.
I'm sorry?
Besides putting the lives of the soldiers in jeopardy.
Well, yes, but in some cases, we have capabilities from drones and from the air, but the rules of engagement are ridiculous. The requirements
and nothing can be done about that.
You get another president, or the president changes his mind, because the president is commander in chief.
Don't our soldiers basically right now, and I don't think any of this is classified, I've talked to a lot of people about this on and off the air, don't our soldiers basically have to not have a weapon pointed at them, they have to be shot before they can take action, is what I've been told.
Pretty close.
That, which to me is pretty crazy.
Yes, very crazy. Now that's on the ground in Afghanistan and places where
most dangerous place on earth, and we are tying them up in knots.
We're tying them up in knots, and in places where we don't have people on the ground. And in fact, let me tell you that in a situation like Syria, as technically capable as we are, you can't do this with true effectiveness unless we have forward spotters. Now, these are people that don't have to be in harm's way, but they've got to be on the ground in a place where the president says he will not allow them. So this is creating, it's part of the rules of engagement that are flat out wrong and are hurting the country and enabling the terrorists.
Rosemary, I want to thank you for your call to Ask the Congressman. We're going to go on to the next caller, who is Russ, no stranger to the Congressman or me. Russ, it's time to Ask the Congressman. Go.
Hi, Frank.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Good to hear you.
Quick question. A veteran issue again. The veteran situation is getting worse. It's not getting better. Between the 10 or 15 billion that was dedicated to PC3, another 9 billion to the choice card, nothing really got off the ground. I'm concerned, number one, that the contractors got the money. Number two, that the waiting 30 days or more for an appointment for a veteran has the number of waiting for more than 30 days has increased 50%. That's what I'm concerned is. What can I do? What can we do as veterans help you?
And we also all saw the veteran who came public and said he went to go get help, and he was told we're not helping anybody else. They sent him packing. They didn't tell him a number he could call, or, hey, look, we can't help you, but we don't want to lose, we don't want anything to happen to you, so call this person or call this number. They let a vet come in that needed help, and they sent him for a ride. I think it's unbelievable. And Russ, hang in there, because you might have a follow-up, and then we're going to get to Joe's call after, and then I have a local question I want to end the program with, and we've got all this to do in less than 9 minutes. A pretty significant win, Congressman, for our veterans, and I think a lot of our listeners don't know much about it at all. You were big time behind the scenes on this. I have been told by numerous sources in our nation's capital in terms of the VA and helping veterans who are contemplating suicide and seeking help. No legislation was needed, but you rallied the entire New Jersey congressional delegation to launch a pilot program, Press One, Save One. Can you tell our listeners about it? And then I'll feather, I think, in very nicely to what Russ is talking about.
Sure. This was a horrible situation that was taking place at the Philadelphia VA, and I'm sure a number of other places. Yeah. A very strong local veterans advocate, Joe Griffiths, had some specific cases he brought to my attention where veterans who were contemplating suicide were actually put on hold and couldn't get through. So this was infuriating. Obviously, for a veteran who is contemplating suicide, to make that first phone call could be difficult enough. So while I think it should be a nationwide program, and I tried to call Fred Vineyard today because he pointed out that a pilot program, when the money runs out, then the veteran is not helped anymore. But we could get it as a pilot program as a start. And basically a veteran who calls presses one button and they're through to somebody. They're not put on hold. This is more or less a suicide hotline that recognizes the severity that a veteran is facing with a suicide situation. So that is a small win. We hope to build on that. Russ, I'm continuing to press the Secretary of the VA, and in fact, I am hoping to meet again with him face to face for the other pilot program that does not need legislation to allow a veteran to go to the doctor or hospital of their choice and do that pilot program here in our district. Because as you pointed out, this 30-day nonsense is causing a bigger problem. The VA now comes back to us and tells us they need how many additional billions of dollars when we just gave them less than a year ago, I think, a $30 billion increase for the new part of this program. And I will tell you, the high hopes I had for the new Secretary of the VA, a West Point graduate who ran Procter & Gamble, are quickly evaporating because the bureaucracy, the 370,000 people that he has under him, clearly do not understand their mission to be helping veterans. So we're continuing to fight with this. The chairman of the Veterans Affairs Committee is a friend. He's Congressman Miller from Florida that I am on the House Intelligence Committee with. He is very frustrated. He has held endless hearings on this. We can't get the Senate to come up with any additional meaningful legislation. And the point you're raising, Russell, and I thank you for your advocacy. You're out there pressing every day. We're going to continue to try to work on. We're woefully deficient in this area.
Russell, we're going to get in one more call, so quick closing comment. Time is yours.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Anything we can do or I can do as a veteran, let me know, okay?
You continue to do it. Thank you for your service.
Russell, thanks for checking in.
You bet.
Have a great night. And Congressman just mentioned someone a little bit ago, fortuitous, because he's been holding and waiting his turn to get on. Joe Griffey is actually here, and he is on now. Joe, your opportunity to ask the Congressman. Go right ahead.
Hello, Congressman LoBiondo, and I just want to say thank you that the program did roll out this morning. There was a couple little glitches, but by noon, instead of dialing 215-823-5800, listening to a recording, and then being told to hang up and dial an 800 number and follow instructions, I tried it at noon, I tried it at 3, and I tried it a half hour ago. You dial the 823-5800 number, you press the number 7, and you come instantly within a ring or two of a human being. And I think, Congressman, what you did by stepping out to get this done the minute you heard about it is going to save a lot. It's the beginning of cutting down on that 23 suicides a day.
Yeah.
So.
And you were just saying it, Joe. This is going to save lives, Congressman.
It's going to save lives. It should be a national program. And, Joe, I can't thank you enough for your dogged advocacy. You are the one who brought this to my attention in a very forceful way. I was maybe fortunate to be in a position to sort of get the ball rolling on this and then generate good support from my colleagues. I wish it were not a pilot program, but this is the way we start things. And I know you're going to keep close eyes on this if something doesn't go right. And we're going to continue to follow up in every way we can to try to take this program, where it should be for those veterans that need the help. So, Joe, I thank you for your service, and I thank you for your advocacy.
Joe, thanks for calling in.
Harry,
yeah.
And Harry, real fast.
Yep.
As soon as the Congressman staff heard about it, they reacted to it. And, Congressman, I feel very confident by Labor Day, this is going to be a program around the country.
Thanks again, Joe.
You started it. Okay, you got it.
Right.
Good stuff. Doesn't that show you, and it was sort of in the narrative that we did setting up the topic, Congressman, some things don't require legislation. This is just happening.
Well, this is incredible, the power that the secretaries, the cabinet secretaries have. So the secretary had this within his power to do. The secretary has within his power to designate this a pilot program in the 2nd Congressional District that allows a veteran to take a card to the doctor or hospital of their choice.
We're seeing executive authority at a level we've never seen probably in American history. A lot of people might not even realize that. And on some occasions, it's a very good thing like this. It is.
And I think Secretary McDonald, his heart is in the right place. He's having a rough time with some of these things. I am going to try to meet with him this month. We're working to try to set that up, and this will be my, I think, 3rd meeting with him.
A couple of minutes left in your program, sir. We know this about you, and I commented on it earlier in the program, that you are doing all these other things, CIA chairman committees and Maritime Safety Committee chairman subcommittee and all this stuff, but your shoes are also planted terra firma right on the ground here. And the most recent example, and we've done regular coverage on Hurley in the Morning and WPG Talk Radio 1450 about this, we had an event with 85-mile-an-hour wind sustained, microbursts, straight-line winds, extended period of time. Before the crews could even get out, another storm on top of that, and I think something like 6 or more big counties were directly hit very, very hard, including all of your district. You were very vital in terms of the federal resources and the federal prowess that can be put on top of this type of issue. Tell our listeners what you did.
Well, when we have one of these natural disasters that hit, it can be sort of a very focused natural disaster that only affects a small part of our district, as we've had a couple times in the past, that devastated a small portion of the district of farming. But once the state does its part and declares it an emergency, that's when the federal government and I, as a representative of the people of this district, can step forward to bring the federal resources to bear for an emergency situation. And that's exactly what we've done here. And I wish I could say that the process moves faster. I wish I could say that it would be more effective. But what happened about 2 weeks ago was a horrible situation. Those people were out of power for an extended period of time, and it was very difficult to get the resources together on this. We're hoping for a disaster declaration from the state of New Jersey so the feds can step in on this.
How fast, thank God, we get it 5 extra minutes. How fast does it go?
Can't leave without talking about a moment of tremendous national pride last night with the women's soccer team and this young lady. Her name is Carly Lloyd, who did the hat trick. And
in 16 minutes, she did a hat trick.
Yeah, and if you're not a soccer fan, you just got to be a fan of the USA. And it was a proud moment.
First title for the women since 1999, the only country to ever win 3. And it got revenge for the 2011 loss to Japan. This was great. I thought the big national pride, we're out in 10 seconds, was the wedding of Harry Hurley.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Proud papa. And, you've got a beautiful family, Harry.
Thank you, Congressman. Until next month, Mark Levin continues now. We'll see you in less than 12 hours.
Michael Satt.